The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves combined for 7 home runs in yesterday's game. The Tampa Bay Rays, they unplugged their brains once again at a crucial moment versus their division rivals, the Baltimore Orioles. And I'm going to go ahead and knock on some wood, but the St. Louis Cardinals, they might actually be back. All of that in today's MLB Recap, a series in which we recap every single game almost every single day. And a reminder, if you're going to any baseball games or concerts anytime soon, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek. Now, before we get into all of the games from yesterday, I do have some big injury updates from the Mariner and Yankee camp. So first and foremost, Josh Donaldson, he is going to be on the 60-day IL. His season is probably over. He has a tear in his calf. Now his career is probably in jeopardy as well. But also, I just want to mention that this shows just how bad Brian Cashman is at his job, because he said this quote right here: Gio Urshela, he's no Josh Donaldson. Well, ever since that point, since the trade, in 165 games as a Yankee, Donaldson, he hit 207 with the 92 OPS plus. Since the trade, Gio Urshela, he's hitting 290 with the 111 OPS plus. So actually, Josh Donaldson, he's no Gio Urshela, but I'm hoping that Josh, he comes back healthy. Maybe he comes back for a renaissance season in 2024, but if it is the end of his career, thanks for all the memories, man. One more injury update. This one is pretty devastating because Jarred Kelenic, his 2023 season is now in jeopardy as well, because he has been striking out a lot. He's been pretty bad for the last few weeks, and because of that, he took out his frustrations on a water cooler, and that water cooler actually won. Jarred Kelenic broke his foot. He's going to be missing quite some time, and you could tell that he felt terrible for his teammates because he let them down.
I let the emotions get the best of me, and I let them down. Take full responsibility for it.
Maybe the Mariners go out and replace Jarred Kelenic with Cody Bellinger or a player like that. But anyways, the Mariners were taking on the Twins yet again. George Kirby and his Seattle teammates, they rallied around Jarred Kelenic and they brought home a huge W. Teoscar, he knocked in one on a single and the other on a solo shot, his 16th of the season. All while George Kirby, he was flat out carving the Minnesota Twins. The 25-year-old straight up pitches like a 10-year veteran. He has zero emotions when he's out there on the bump. He punched out 10 Mariners over 7 dominant frames. He did not allow a single run to score. Mike Ford, he stayed red hot with his 10th home run and just 104 at-bats. The Mariners, they went easy 5-0. They're 5.5 games back of a wild card spot. Talking about the Mariners. Speaking of the wild card, Tampa Bay, they might have to settle for a wild card spot because Baltimore, they've been playing some unreal baseball as of late. Now, Tampa Bay, they've been the exact opposite. And right there, that play kind of summarizes the last few weeks for the Rays. They just unplugged their brains. They allowed Gunnar Henderson to turn a double into a triple. That cannot happen, but it just shows where the Rays are at right now. And I felt bad for Tyler Glasnow because he struck out 9 over 7 innings. He got hosed multiple times by his defense. Now, this game ended up getting tied after a Yandy Diaz clutch 2-run double or a single. I can't remember what it was. So he breathed some life into the Rays, and the Rays nearly stole the lead back, but Ramon Urias, he ended the threat on a nice diving play in the 8th inning. So we're going to need extras to settle this one, and that sac fly right there, that was the game. Why? Because Tampa Bay, they had a mountain to climb. No, really, the mountain. Felix Bautista, he threw 2 perfect innings. He struck out 3. He now has a 0.96 ERA, and he's striking out over 50% of the hitters that he's facing. So if we take a look at the standings, Baltimore, they're now in sole possession of first place in the East, whereas the Rays, they're 32-33 over the last 65, so a game under 500. They're now in second place. The Diamondbacks and the Braves, every single run in this next game was scored via the long ball. 7 home runs total between both teams. Orlando Arcia, he hit the first one, and speaking of first, that was Dominic Canzone's first big league tater in AAA. Dominic Canzone hit .355 with 16 home runs and 71 RBIs in 71 games. That dude flat out rakes. Arizona, they got one more off the bat of Emmanuel Rivera, and that's when Atlanta, they also broke out the boomsticks. Matt Olson, he made it a 1-run game on 1 swing. Corbin Carroll, he got one of those runs back. He now has 19 home runs and 29 stolen bases at a rookie. That is absolutely stupid. You know what else is stupid? Austin Riley, when he's on a tear. That's another go-ahead 3-run bomb. He must be excited about Oppenheimer or something. He has 4 home runs and 12 RBIs over his last 6 games. Matt Olson, he extended his NL best 32 home runs and also NL best 80 RBIs as Raisel Iglesias now has 17 saves on the season. The Braves beat the Diamondbacks 7-5, and afterwards, Arizona, they immediately hopped on the phone. They are inquiring about Lucas Giolito. They are trying to stop Lucas Giolito from getting traded to the Dodgers or the Astros, so make sure you guys podcast, hit that subscribe button. We have a lot of trade updates coming soon. Lucas, he could be going to Arizona. The Phillies and the Brewers, this game was won by 2 men, and it was enough to make a grown man like me cry because look at Christian Yelich go. He's on pace for 24 home runs, 36 stolen bases after that 3-run home run, and since June 11th, he's hitting .350 with 11 home runs and a .1075 OPS. Prime Christian Yelich, he has been back for almost 2 months now. Corbin Burnes, he completely took over from there. He basically embarrassed the Phillies offense in Philly. Burnes, he went 8 scoreless with 10 punch-outs. He allowed just 3 base runners the entire night. That is a massive W in my opinion because the Brewers are now 8-10 over their last 10 games. I think they have the 4th best record in baseball over the last 60 games, and you have Yelich and Burnes going off in the same night. They're kind of a scary team right now. The Giants and the Reds, I'm not going to lie, Cincinnati kind of has to win this game versus San Francisco, and lucky for them, they had rookie star Andrew Abbott going on the bump. Now, his battery mate, Luke Maile, he helped out with a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning, and before we show anything else, I know, Ellie De La Cruz this and Ellie De La Cruz that, a lot of glazing going on, I'm sorry, but come on, 99.8 miles an hour to the plate. Not many people in baseball can do that, let alone a 6'5" shortstop third baseman who is the fastest player in baseball. He can hit a ball 470 feet, and he's a switch hitter. That ends the top of the 4th, and heading to the bottom half, Cincinnati, they got some huge help from a couple rookies. Christian Encarnacion Strand, that's a lot of words, by the way. He had a single to bring in Jonathan India, and Will Benson, he brought home CES. I'm just going to hyphenate it, CES on a double. They got one more from Jonathan India, but they didn't need it because Andrew Abbott, he put San Francisco in a blender, and he was just as nasty as Corbin Burnes, but from the left side. Abbott, he now has a 2.1 ERA after throwing 8 more shutout innings with 6 strikeouts, allowed just 1 base hit, so he was even more unhittable than Corbin Burnes. Cincinnati and the Brewers, they're kind of matching each other the last few games. They've both won 2 in a row. It is not hyperbole or me being dramatic when I say that Blake Snell has been MLB's best pitcher for the last month, but he walked 7 in this one, so obviously he walked 7. He's going to give up 9 runs, right? Nope. He gave up just 1 run on an RBI single. Blake Snell has struck out 95 hitters in 63 innings. He has a minuscule, a tiny 0.7 ERA over his last 11 starts, including this game. He only allowed 1 even though he walked 7. Now he's going to take the tough L though because Chris Bassett, he locked in for 6 shutout. That was the 7th time in 2023 in which Chris Bassett has gone 6 or more innings without allowing a single run. He has a blow-up start every so often, but other than that, he's been pretty solid. Vladdy, he belted his 15th home run, and Alejandro Kirk, he made it 4-0. As the Blue Jays, they beat the Padres pretty easily, 4-0. Jose Quintana made his Mets and 2023 debut all at the same time after he was suffering through a rib injury that kept him on the shelf for quite some time, and he wasn't bad. Eloy Jimenez, he knocked in a run early, and Chicago, they got a 2nd run on a sac fly, but minimal damage from Jose Quintana. Omar Narvaez, he helped out with a solo home run, but that was it off of Michael Kopech. Yasmani Grandal, he got that run back and more on a 2-run double, and Elvis Andrus, he put the finishing touches on a 4-run 6th inning. I think that was a triple right there. The New York Mets, they were playing some really good baseball the last few weeks, but all of a sudden, they're now just 5-5 over their last 10. The Tigers and the Royals, teams across baseball got to be salivating at what Michael Lorenzen has done over the last few weeks. Lorenzen, he got a few runs of support on 2 singles from Andy Ibanez and Eric Haas, and then there's a sac fly from Spencer Torkelson, so it's 3-0 Tigers, and it's going to stay that way because I know it was against Kansas City, a bottom feeder of a team, but 7 shutout is still 7 shutout. I don't care who it is. I mean, unless you're maybe playing the Yankees, because that would have not been impressive. The Yankees offense stinks. Alex Lang, he's been throwing a lot of innings lately as the Detroit closing pitcher, so Jason Foley, he was in there. He now has 4 saves and a 2.13 ERA. I think that Foley's going to be the guy going forward, and maybe Alex Lang is going to get shipped before the deadline. Speaking of getting shipped, Michael Lorenzen now has a 2 ERA over his last 6 starts. That is perfect timing for Detroit because they're going to flip him for prospects. The Cubs and the Cardinals, Wilson Contreras got the party started with an RBI double in the 1st, but the 4th inning is really what we care about in this one. 21-year-old Jordan Walker hit a 3-run moonshot. He has 9 home runs on the year, and there's Nolan Arenado again with an RBI extra base hit. Over Nolan's last 20 games, he's 2nd in RBIs just behind Matt Olson, and he's 3rd in extra base hits behind Mookie Betts and Matt Olson. Steven Matz, he finally wasn't human batting practice. He struck out 6 over 5, allowing just 1 run on 3 base hits, so an excellent start for him. Paul DeJong, I wonder if he's going to get traded. He blasted off for the 13th time. His OPS plus is finally back at 100, but because they have a guy in Mason Wynn who should be up in the big leagues pretty soon, expect Paul DeJong to maybe get shipped. The Cardinals, they've won 6 games in a row, but they're still 8.5 games back of the wild card, so that's why I'm saying they're probably going to still trade some of their players. The Astros were taking on the A's in Oakland, and Jake Myers Myers channeled his inner Spider-Man in the 4th inning. He made a sick play at the wall. And just for your information, Jake Myers now has 15 outs above average since 2022. He's also top 7% in speed, so Jake Myers is quite literally one of the best defenders in all of baseball. Anyways, JP France, he was rock solid after allowing a 1st inning run. He went the next 5 without allowing any damage. That's when Kyle Tucker saved JP from taking the tough L because he was losing, but those 2 runs on a double. And JP France ended up going 7 innings. He now has a 3.1 ERA. Alex Bregman now has 14 home runs on the season, and I just want to say I miss juiced ball Alex Bregman because the dude had an insane 560 slugging from 2018 and 2019. Ever since that point, from 2020 to present day, he has a 433 slugging, so it dropped almost 130 points. We're going to do today's Immaculate Grid in just a second, but I want to give an update on the standings because the Orioles, I want to go ahead and show this for Baltimore fans. You now have sole possession of 1st place in the AL East. So shout out to you guys for staying patient. I was completely wrong about the Orioles this year. The Jays, they are 7-3 over their last 10, so they're 5.5 games back of 1st place. The Twins, they lost yesterday, so they're back to 2 games ahead of the Guardians. The Tigers, they've won 2 in a row. They're 5 games back of that Central crown. The West, we can see that the Rangers have won 6 in a row, where you have the Astros and the Angels both on winning streaks as well. The Mariners, they're back to 500. In the NL East, the Braves are way ahead. They're 10.5 games ahead of the Phillies. The Central, the Reds are behind by 2.5 games, even though they've won 2 games in a row. Same with the Brewers. And then in the NL West, nothing changed because both the Diamondbacks and the Giants lost yesterday, so they're still 2 games back of the Dodgers. All right, let's go ahead and do this Immaculate Grid. So we have the Padres and the Rockies. I'm going to go with Brad Hand. I almost wanted to go with Jerks and Profar, but I feel like he might get a lot of votes. So 4%, that is really good. The Rockies and the Cardinals, I'm going to go with an easy one, Matt Holiday. I'm going to go ahead and try and get this done ASAP. That was 21%, not that good. 30 stolen base season from a Rocky. I don't know if Scott Posednik played for the Rockies back in the day, but Scott Posednik, he is coming to my brain right now. But also, did Garrett Hampson once upon a time steal 30 bags? I know that Chuck Nasty, didn't Charlie Blackmon, I think he stole 30 bags. Yes, 37%, so my rarity score is not going to be that good. The Padres and the Guardians, am I allowed to use, can I use Brad Hand twice? I don't think I can, but I'm going to go Austin Hedges. I know that he was on the Guardians. I'm so glad that Austin Hedges is off the team. The Guardians and the Cardinals, I know this one, Oscar Mercado, so I'm going to go Oscar Mercado because that one, I think he's back on the Cardinals now. 30 stolen base season from the Guardians. I could go with Kenny Lofton. I could go with Jose Ramirez. I'm going to go Lofton and just hope that people are going to go for more modern day players. So Kenny Lofton, 48%. That really bit me. That was not a good pick at all. We have the Padres and the Diamondbacks off the top. I don't really have anyone. Who was that guy's name? Chafin. Didn't Andrew Chafin play for... No, I meant Andrew Kashner. Oh, he wasn't even on that. I just wasted 2 picks. Oh, no. So a 30 stolen base season from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Or what about the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals? Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. Luke Weaver. I guess I'll go Luke Weaver. I really messed this up. I'm really mad at myself. Okay, that was awful. Let's see who could have been a 30 stolen base season for the Diamondbacks. I mean, can I think of one off the top of my head? 30 stolen base season for the Diamondbacks. I can't think of any right now. For the Padres and the Diamondbacks, I could have gone with Roberto Alomar, Steve Finley. I should have known that. Justin Upton, I should have known that as well. I mean, that's just bad on my part. How did I forget that Paul Goldschmidt once stole 30 bags and also AJ Pollock, Gene Segura? I should have known that. I sucked in today's Immaculate Grid. I'm sorry. But that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. And remember, guys, the trade deadline is rapidly approaching, so do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.